My name is Bob Jagger, and I am the producer slash director slash part-time cameraman slash whatever else you want me to be. This project started well over 3 years ago. It was actually one of the first projects we talked about when we put together Equinox Documentaries, and Leslie Poole, who was one of the original members of the board, and Clay Henderson, who was also one of the original members of the board. We were brainstorming some story ideas, and Clay just said, "Hey, you got a story sitting right here. You got Leslie Poole. She went on this trip for Marjorie Rollins. That would be a good story." And we all liked that idea, and we started working on it way back then. In Marjorie's wake is the story of two modern-day women who have set out for a week-long trip on the St. Johns River from Puzzle Lake up to the Ocklawaha. Basically ends at Cross Creek, and the guide that they're using is a trip that was taken by Marjorie Rollins that she wrote about in Cross Creek. The last chapter of Cross Creek is called Hyacinth Drift, and she and a cracker neighbor of hers, Desi Smith, took that trip back in the early 1930s, 75 years ago. And so these two women today are doing the same thing 75 years later to do two things: to see what's changed in 75 years on the river, but also to see if they can't find a sense of place and a sense of purpose and some spiritual soul-searching journey in this environment, the same way that Marjorie and Desi did during their first trip. Marjorie was a very romantic writer and eloquent about sharing that. Desi had a different way of connecting to the river, being a Florida cracker her whole life. And we're hoping to see that same change and metamorphosis between two very different personalities again 75 years later. Yeah, the essence of the film, and what we hope people will get out of the film, is that anywhere, any day, anytime, anyone can have the same experience. Doesn't matter where you don't have to be on the St. Johns River. You can be in your backyard. You can be hiking on a bike path or in a state park. But anyone, anywhere, anytime can have this kind of experience where you feel a part of your surroundings. And and when you do get that feeling, and when you notice that and recognize that, that's when you start to develop an environmental ethic and an understanding of how we fit into a larger picture. It's not just about us, which a lot of times, unfortunately, that's the way society is today. We're very me-oriented.
I'm Tom Postal, and I am the videographer on board. Honestly, this is the type of job that production people live for. It's very seldom that you get to come out and spend this kind of time with great people. Of course, we're so fortunate with the weather, but this is what we live for.
You know, a lot of people take a look at this trip and say, wow, you know, I'd do anything to be on that trip with you. I'm not sure if people knew what we did to be on this trip, that they would do anything to be on this trip with us, because literally it took 4 years of work for this 1 week trip. And that's the fundraising, the planning. It sounds like a lot, but I mean, that's really typical. I mean, you really have to get your act together. We don't do this all the time. And so it's not lost on me. I absolutely love being in the field doing this thing. And I don't mind the hours at all. And I don't regret, and I don't let any moment pass without some appreciation for it, because it's fabulous to do what I do and to be here. It really is. But it does come with a lot of work. And so I don't want to take one moment of that for granted. It has been a lifelong thing for me. I've been doing this my entire life. I hope to do it till the day I die. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's like being in school all the time. I have to become an expert in everything. If I'm going to share a story with someone, I need to know what I'm talking about. And I love that sense of discovery that I have to go through before I can turn around and share it with other people. It's just wonderful. It keeps me stimulated all the time. Yeah.
Rye toast, no biscuits.
Mike, can you remind me tonight to fire the intern?
But then we're going to give you a discount for product.